A very good afternoon. Today our group 8 will present about topic 4. There is Theory of Psychodynamic Analytical Psychology by Jung. Now let me introduce our group member. The first one is Stuart Welling. The matrix number is 284764. Ho Jiaing. The matrix number is 289676. Pan Chung-nu. The matrix number is 291652. Tang Yan-mei, the matrix number is 293204. He Xiang-wen, the matrix number is 299406. In this topic, we will learn about biography of Carl Jung, concepts of human nature, and structures of personality.
My name is Punjai and my matrix number is 289676. First, I will talk about the biography of Carl Jung. Carl Jung was born on 26th of July 1875 in Kassel, Switzerland. As a child, he was interested in history, archaeology, and philosophy. In 1885, he began to study medicine at the University of Basel and discovered he had a passion of psychiatry. In 1900, he became a psychiatrist at the Berkeley Psychiatric Hospital as it gave him the opportunity to study both the spiritual and physical sides of the world. In 1903, he married Emma Rauschenbach. In 1909, Carl Jung left the psychiatric hospital. He studied schizophrenia extensively. Next, I will talk about the Carl Jung's early career, Part 1. In 1907, he went to Vienna to meet Sigmund Freud, where they studied alongside each other for a number of years. They developed their own theories and corresponded through letters. They came to parting ways because Carl Jung disagreed with Sigmund Freud's belief the sexual component was the only part of the human personality. Carl Jung also felt Sigmund Freud was too narrow-minded about his views on the unconscious mind and dream interpretation. Part 2. Sigmund Freud's main theories were that our sexual libido controlled our unconscious thoughts, and when dreaming, it was our sexual thoughts that controlled the content of these dreams. In 1912, his first ideas were published in Psychology of the Unconscious. It contained much about mythological content and listed parallels between myths and psychotic fantasies. He went on to develop his own theory called analytic psychology. For half a century, he wrote religiously about personality in regards to symbolic, mythological, and spiritual views. Part 3. In his personal life, he spent much of his time deep in self-discovery. In 1921, he published psychological texts including his perspective of different personality types and the relationship between the conscious and unconscious. After that, I will talk about the Carl Jung's major theories. Carl Jung focused on the unconscious and conscious mind. He believed that the unconscious plays more for a role in controlling our thought process, especially during dreaming. The collective unconscious was also a more dominant factor in the development of human personality. He believed in two personality types. First, introvert, someone who keeps to themselves and is emotionally self-sufficient. Second, extrovert, someone who is outgoing and uses their psychological power to draw people towards them. Finally, I will talk about the Carl Jung's final word. Carl Jung's theories and beliefs are still used among therapists today. Much of his work can be applied to dream interpretation. Due to poor health, he retired and started teaching in 1947. He died in Zurich on 6th of June 1961. Thank you.
My name is Stuart Welling, matrix number 284764. Now I will present about 4.2 concept of human nature. There are 5 Carl Jung's important ideas on human nature. First is that consciousness is I am. Jung has been confused, but he discovered the idea that I am what I am. Second is personality isn't permanent. and is always changing. He stated that the personality type is not fixed and changes throughout life. Third, the only one real threat that exists is man himself. Man poses the greatest threat to the society. We need to learn more about human nature. 4. Belief is based on evidence. A specific hypothesis must have a rationale behind it. He is willing to embrace a notion if there is enough supporting evidence for it. The last one is that man cannot endure a life without purpose. His patients are all striving to ensure the purpose of their own lives and prevent themselves from living a meaningless life. Analytical psychology, often known as Jungian psychology, takes an unbiased approach to the subject of the psyche. Jung stated that the conscious mind, which is made out of the memories, feelings, and thoughts that an individual is aware of, is represented by the ego. Feelings of continuity and identity are mostly the product of the ego. The unconscious is divided into two layers, which are the personal unconscious and the collective unconscious. Compresses as an essential aspect of the personal unconscious. The complex has a stronger effect on the individual as the aspect it has associated increase. The key to understanding neurosis and developing effective treatment strategy is to focus on the present and future. Next is complexes and archetypes. Complexes could be linked to the traumatic past experiences or stereotype traits that the person has not been able to control, such as violence or masculinity. Psychotic patient experiences could be categorized into certain patterns, which are referred to as pattern archetypes. Next, the purposive and self-regulating psyche. The mind and the unconscious could be generally trusted and that they are always trying to help oneself. In this sense, he considered the psyche as self-regulating. Unpleasant symptoms like despair or anxiety may be able to assist a person in recognizing a psychological imbalance. Depression might be a result of their lifestyle choice not aligning with their inherent nature and personality. Personal unconscious encompasses all the memories and events of a person's life that have been suppressed or forgotten but yet have an unconscious impact on their action and mindset. Though they might not be consciously accessible, the memory, sensation, and concept found in this part of the unconscious mind have the possibility of becoming aware. For example, someone may be afraid of dogs because of their forgotten bad experiences with dogs from their childhood. Although it may not be consciously remembered, this fear is kept in the subconscious and may lead to unreasonable reaction anytime the person comes into contact with dogs. Collective unconscious. The unconscious knowledge and experiences that are passed down through generation and presented through universal symbolic and archetypes found in all human society. The pre-existing forms or archetypes that make up the collective unconscious might manifest as sensation, dreams, or visions. They can also be found in symbolic experiences, art, culture, and religion. As a result of evolution, the human mind has some intrinsic quality imprinted on it. These common characteristics have their roots in our ancestry. Examples of fears are those of the dogs, snake, and spider. That's all for me. Thank you.
My name is Hee Xian-wen. My matrix number is 299406. Today I would like to present about Jungian archetype. Jungian archetypes are defined as images and things that derive from the collective unconscious as proposed by Carl Jung. Archetypes have universal meanings across cultures and may show us in dreams, literature, art, or religions. Jung believes symbols from different cultures are often very similar because they have emerged from archetypes shared by the whole human race, which are part of our collective unconscious. For Jung, our primitive past becomes the basis of the human psyche, directing and influencing present behavior. Jung came to identify a large number of archetypes by paying special attention to four. Jung labeled these archetypes the self, the persona, the shadow, and the animal or animus. The first archetype is the persona. The persona is the outward face represent to the world. It concerns our real self, and Jung describes it as the conformity archetype. This is the public face or role a person presents to others as someone different from who they really are. The term origins from the Greek word for the mask that ancient actors used symbolizing the role we play in public. A well-adapted persona can greatly contribute to our social success as it mirrors our true personality traits and adapts to different social contexts. However, problems can arise when a person overly identifies with their persona, unable to differentiate between their professional role and their authentic self. The persona is shaped during childhood, driven by the need to conform to the expectancy of parents, teachers, and peers. The persona archetypes allow people to adapt to the world around them and fit in with the society in which they live. However, becoming too closely identified with this archetype can lead people to lose sight of their true selves. Another archetype is the animal or animus. The animal or animus is the mirror image of our biological sex that is the unconscious feminine side in males and the masculine tendencies in women. It manifests the attitude and behavior of the others by pictures of centuries of living together. For men, this exists an animus, and for women, this exists an animus. These archetypes are derived both from collecting ideas of femininity and masculinity and from individual experience with the opposite sex beginning with the person's parents. The animal and animus exist in the unconscious as counterbalance to a person's conscious sexual identity, serving to complement their experience and understanding of their own gender. Jung acknowledged that so-called masculine traits like autonomy, separateness, and aggression, and feminine traits like neutralness, relentlessness, and empathy were not confined to one gender or superior to the others. The animal and animus represent our otherness, connecting the ego to the broader psychic, transforming it brings bridge to the unconscious. The third archetype is the shadow. The shadow archetype, as defined by Carl Jung, encapsulates the part of ourselves that we may reject, disown, or simply don't recognize. The shadows contain traits that we consciously oppose over constraining those presented in our personas. It is the source of both our creative and destructive energies. In line with evolutionist theory, it may be that Jung archetypes reflect predispositions that once has survival values. The shadow isn't merely negative, is provided and balanced to our personality, reflecting the principle that every aspect of one personality has a compensatory counterpart. This interplay of the persona and the shadow is often explored in literature such as in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and the pictures of Dorian Gray, where characters grapple with their twin natures, further illustrating the compelling nature of this aspect of Jung theories.
Swan, directed by Darren Aronofsky, is a story of a ballerina who is given the chance to be the lead in Swan Lake, which is a major career breakthrough. But she's told that success can only be achieved if she can, quote, let herself go and take on the dark persona of the Black Swan. As I mentioned before, the shadow is made up of the personality traits which we deny exist in ourselves. So why do we deny their existence? There could be many reasons. The societal explanation is something I will discuss in the second film, but generally, the shadow is a product of what our parents told us to repress, and the things we observed them repress. For example, most children were told not to harm their siblings or friends when they're angry. We're told that violence is bad, so we repress our violent urges. In many very religious families, sex is a taboo and rarely discussed, and this creates the impression that sexuality must be repressed. And we saw the potential explosive consequences of this problem back in March. In Black Swan, Nina lives with a mother who taught her to repress many aspects of herself. When we meet Nina, she's basically frozen in a childlike state. Her bedroom appears like it hasn't changed since she was 7, and her social life is just as stagnant. Her mother hovers over her like a totalitarian, making sure her daughter follows a strict routine which she says will make her a great dancer. And of course, deep down, her mother doesn't want her to be a great dancer either. We don't learn a lot about Nina's mother or why she is this way, but she does utter one sentence that tells much of the story. At one point in the film, Nina's mother brings up her own dancing career, and Nina, who's becoming more and more consumed by her shadow, says, "What career?" And her mom responds with, "The one I gave up to have you." So Nina's mother is subconsciously resentful towards her daughter for the opportunities she sacrificed to take care of her. Nina's father presumably walked out. And she acts on this resentment by keeping Nina sheltered and not allowing her to do anything without her blessing. Now, when Nina is given a shot to become the Swan Queen, her director Leroy is very much aware of what Nina is lacking. She's the most disciplined and elegant dancer in his studio, but she's not in touch with her dark side. And that is, of course, because her dark side is her shadow, and Nina uses a lot of energy to keep it that way, energy that could otherwise be used during her performance. Leroy struggles to access Nina's shadow until Lily, portrayed by Mila Kunis, enters the picture. When considering our shadow, a good question to ask is, if it's subconscious, how do we become aware of it? Well, the easiest way is through recognizing projection. The things we don't like about ourselves and keep in our shadows are the things we project onto other people. Lily is the personification of Nina's shadow. Nina has repressed her sexuality, Lily is promiscuous. Nina is disciplined and rigid, Lily is chaotic and charming. When Nina first meets Lily, she can't stand her because she is everything her mother taught her not to be. Leroy hopes that Nina can use Lily as a model for how to become the Black Swan, and it's a play that actually works to some extent. It's important to realize that there are aspects of Lily that Nina would be right to mimic. It's not good for a grown woman to be totally submissive towards her mother. It's not good for Nina to be apologizing for every small mistake she makes, which is something Leroy rightfully scolds her for. There are traits that we keep repressed that we need to access in order to be the best version of ourselves. This is why Jung said, "I'd rather be whole than good." But of course, Black Swan is not a story about how Nina learns to become whole, stands up to her mother, and becomes the perfect Swan Queen. Black Swan is a tragedy that ends in Nina's destruction. So what goes wrong? Nina falls into a trap which is perfectly described by Robert M. Stein. Since the shadow always contains many things which are really unacceptable, repugnant, and destructive to others and to society, such contamination of individuality and shadow can be disastrous. The individual then experiences acceptance of the soul and shadow as identical. Leroy is under the impression that Nina can awaken her shadow for the performance without it taking her over completely. The problem is, Nina's shadow traits had been so deeply repressed, all of that energy stored inside her, that when it's finally released, she uses it to give a great performance, yes, but it also causes her self destruction. Nina could not sense the pressure building. She believed that the Black Swan persona had to be acquired, but the truth is, the identity was resting dormant inside her from the beginning. Deep down, she wanted to take it on. That's why she's constantly having fantasies and daydreams straight from her subconscious, showing what she would be like if she stopped repressing her desires. Another mark of Nina's desire is the scratch on her back, which eventually becomes her black wings. The scratch is present before she gets the role of Swan Queen. Her mother constantly tries to prevent her from scratching it, but the habit only becomes worse as Nina starts to identify more and more with her shadow. The symbolism is not subtle. Nina needed to become familiar with her shadow and then start to touch it. But due to the rapid release of pressure, she becomes arrogant, resentful, paranoid, and ultimately murderous. And it's the metaphysical killing of Lily that represents the tarnishing of her innocence and unification with the shadow. Now, again, Nina's troubles begin with her mother's character flaws and misparenting.
The last archetype is the third. Finally, there is the third, which provides a sense of unity in experience. For Jung, the ultimate aim of every individual is to achieve a state of self-worth. It is similar to self-actualization, and in this respect, Jung is moving in the direction of a more humanistic orientation. That's what certainly Jung believed, and in his book, The Undiscovered Self, he argued that many of the problems of modern life are caused by man's progressive alienation from his instinctual foundations. One aspect of this is his view on the significance of the animal or animals. Jung argues that these archetypes are products of the collective experience of man and woman living together. However, in modern Western civilizations, men are discouraged from living their feminine side and women from expressing masculine tendencies. For Jung, the result was that the full psychological development process was undermined. Together with the prevalent patriarchal culture of Western civilizations, it had led to the devaluation of feminine qualities altogether, and the predominance of the person has elevated insincerity to a way of life which goes unquestioned by millions in their everyday life.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pang Chirut, and my metric number is 291652. Now I'll be talking about the structure of personality. Jung has developed four personality types, or also known as four typologies. Firstly is our external behavior, which is characterized by our introverted versus extroverted behavior. Second is our internal processes, which can be seen by our sensing versus intuition. Third is our internal state, which is our thinking and feeling. Fourth is our adaptation behavior, which is our judging and perceiving. Now I'll be discussing more about our external behavior. Our external behavior refers to how we focus and direct our attention and energy. For introverted people, they tend to feel more comfortable in small, intimate settings and often need time alone to recharge. On the other hand, extroverted people prefer social interaction, excitement, and stimulation. They thrive in large groups and enjoy being the center of attention. As shown on this pictograph, both introverts and extroverts have different key characteristics. For introverts, they are usually more reflective and thoughtful, and they are quietly reserved. On the other hand, extroverts are socially enthusiastic and they are more outgoing and talkative. Both of these both of these types have their own strengths and weaknesses, and both are not wrong in any way. It's just that they have different ways to interact with the outside world. Now, we'll move on to our internal processes, which entails how we process the information gathered from the environment around us, which basically means how we use our five senses to gather the information from our environment. Firstly, sensors are most likely to believe their gut feeling and follow their initial instincts. They see the world in terms of concrete details and facts. For people who rely on their intuition more, they are more inclined to want to pause and think things through before making a decision, and they see the world in terms of concepts and ideas. Here we can see some signs of sensing personalities are they have more attention to details and they are more present focused, as well as they are more down to earth. In contrast to intuitive personalities, they have a more distinct inner voice and they are usually more imaginative and creative as well. Now I'll be talking about our internal state. Our internal state is basically how we make our decisions in our daily life. So for people with thinking personalities, they tend to be objective and firm-minded. They'll be just and clear, and they'll think about policies in a detached and sensible way and make decisions based on sensible, good judgment and logic. On the other hand, for feelers, they will be very humane and prefer harmony. They like to appreciate and be appreciated, and also they make decisions based on their own personal values. Some key differences between thinkers and feelers are thinkers are usually more logical and more objective. On the other hand, feelers are usually more emotional, they are more personal, and they are more people oriented as well.
Adaptation behavior, that means the adaptation operator is how we adapt the world to suit us or the other way around, and that consists two. The first one is judging, the second is perceiving. Judging person prefer to have method setter. They will always make sure there's a solution to settle or overcome the problem, and they also think rules and deadlines should be respected. That means they always follow the deadlines and rules and prefer have detailed step-by-step instruction. They also always make plans before they starting something, an event or program. Perceiving person prefer to leave option open, see rules and deadlines as flexible. They will not always follow to the rules and deadlines, and they like to improvise and make things. They are also spontaneous, enjoy surprises and a new situation. Last but not least is Myers-Briggs type indication. It's also called as MBTI. It's developed by Catherine Cook Briggs and her daughter Isabel Briggs Myers in the United States in the early 20th century. It's based on the work of Jung, who published Psychological Types in 1921. The MBTI produces 16 different personality types, each with innate strength and blind spot. Here's the picture show that the details of 16 different personalities in MBTI. You guys may have a look. Maybe some of you already know your MBTI, or maybe some of you don't know about your MBTI until now. If you are interested, just scan the QR below and complete the test to find out your MBTI. In conclusion, we already discussed about the overview in chapter 4 that consists of the biography of Jung, the concept of human nature, and structure of personality. That's all from us. Thank you.